Oink, 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 oink. Oh, hi everybody! Welcome back to another video. Yay! Woohoo! Bye! Oh, no, you don't. Brother. Oh, hey guys, look, it's Frenchie. Hi, Frenchie. Hi, everybody. My name is Frenchie. Never would have guessed. And today, we are going to be learning about fractions and decimals in a number line. A number line? What's a number line? It's a line with numbers on it. Gosh, Byron, are you really that dumb? Or again. Sorry, sheesh. That dog sometimes bothers me. So anyways, these are fractions and decimals in a number line. Cool. Yes. But, I don't see any mixed numbers. That's because the fractions and decimals are between 0 and 1. So there are no mixed numbers here. Instead, there are just fractions and decimals all over the place. Let's look at the very bottom. I think this will be the easiest one to recognize. 0 over 2, 0 over 4, 0 over 8. We'll do all of these equal. 0, obviously. That's right! 0 divided by 2 is 0. 0 divided by 4 is 0. 0 divided by 8 is 0. And 0 equals 0.0. Because, as we mentioned earlier, 0 does not have any value. So we don't need the free zeros. Instead, we could just write 0 instead of 0.000. So we don't need 0.000, but rather just 0. So, the zeros don't add any value. So we could just get rid of those zeros and simply write just 0 instead of 0.00000, or forever with the zeros. So, 0 divided by any number except 0 equals 0, because you cannot divide by 0. That's an error. But what about this next one? It is greater than 0, but it is still pretty less. What do you notice about 0.1 and 0.125? Oh, hey! It looks like that 0.125 is the equivalent value of 1/8, and 0.1 is less. That's right. 0.1 is less than 0.125, because 0.125 is 0.025 greater than 0.1, because obviously 0.125 minus 0.1 is 0.025, because 25 minus 0 is 25, and 1 minus 1 is 0, and 0 minus 0 is 0, plus side the decimal point. So 0.125 is 0.025 more than 0.1. 0.1 is 1/10, or 1 divided by 10. 0.125 is 1 divided by 8, or 1/8. But what do you notice about this one? Oh, this appears to be 1/6. That's right. 0.17 is approximately equal to 1/6. But 0.17 is not the exact decimal. The exact decimal is not rounded. It's 0.16 something. I forgot. But still, it is 1/6. But if we look closely here, 0.16, it's greater than 5. So, the number next to the 0.16 is greater than 5. That rounds it up to 0.17. Approximately 0.17 is 1/6. So, 0.17 is really equivalent to 1 divided by 6, which is really cool. 1/5. Oh, we're getting higher now. It looks like that 0.2 is equal to 1/5. And that 0.250 is equal to 0.25, right? Exactly, because remember what we talked about, the zeros don't add any values, so 0.250 could be taken away, and instead be 0.25 instead. This is 1/4. It's equivalent to 2/8, because 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 2 is 8. Kind of over here, 0 times 0 is 0, times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Yes, that's the same thing over here. And 1/4 is 0.25 or 0.250. But what about 0.3 and 0.33? What do you think are these fractions? Well, excuse me. 0.1 is 1/10, right? Yeah. I think that 0.3 is 3/10. Oh, yeah. That's right. This 0.3 is 3/10. 0.33 is approximately equal to 2/6, which, if simplified, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 6 divided by 2 is 3. It's 1/3. 0.33 must be 1/3, because 0.3 repeating is roughly the same as 2/6, which, simplified, is 1/3. Great job! But what about 0.375? Oh, that one's hard. Oh, I see the fraction 3/8. 3/8 is definitely greater than 3/10 or 3/9, because 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 9 divided by 3 is 3. 1/3 is equivalent to 3/9, but 3/8 is greater than 3/9 and 3/10. Oh, I get it. It looks like that 0.375 is the exact value of the fraction 3/8. That's correct. And if we look closely over here, 0.4 is the equivalent of 2 divided by 5, or 2/5. But what about halfway, in the middle? What is in the middle of 0 and 1? Think about it. I think this should be common sense. Well, half of 2 is 1, and if we split 1 in half, we get half. Wait a second. Half of 1 is 1/2. That's right. What Organ is trying to say is that half of 1 is half. 1/2 equals 2/4, and 2/4 equals 4/8, because 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So these are all equivalent fractions. And plus, if we look closely over here, 0.500 equals 0.50, which equals 0.5, or also 3/6. Yes, these zeros do not add value. So instead of 0.500 or 0.50, we could simply write 0.5. These are equivalent decimals. These, additionally this, 1/2, 2/4, 3/6, and 4/8 are equivalent to 0.5. Yes. But what about 0.625 and 0.6? What do you notice? Oh, wait a minute. I noticed that just like the one we saw here, this one is also 0.025 more than 0.6, because 0.625 minus 0.6 is 0.025. So 0.625 is around 0.025 more than 0.6, which is equal to 3 divided by 5, or 3/5. But 5 divided by 8, or 5/8, is 0.625. Think about it. If 0.625 is 0.025 more than 0.6, which decimal is greater? I think 0.625 is greater than 0.6. That means This means that 5/8 is greater than 3/5. That's right, because what did we just remember? 0.625 is 0.025 greater than 0.6. So 5/8 is greater than 3/5. Well done. Ooh, but what about these two? 0.67 and 0.7. What do you notice? Let's see if we notice anything here. Oh, wait a minute. 4/6 and 2/3, those are not equivalent to 0.67. Well, Oregon, you technically are right, but 0.67 is basically 0.6 repeating rounded to the nearest, I don't know, hundredth, let's say, rounded to the nearest hundredth. So 0.6 repeating, the last digit of the decimal 0.6 repeating is 7. 7 is greater than 5. This makes all of the 6's except the first 6 round up to 7. So 0.6 repeating could also be 0.67 because the last digit in that decimal is 7, which makes all the 6's round up to 7's. So 0.67 is an alternative for saying 0.6 repeating, but not an exact form, just a rounded form. And you're right, it equals 4/6, which if you simplify it, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3, is equal to 2/3. Yes! I mean, think of it this way, 33 plus 33 is 66, and that is 2 times 33. 2 is the numerator. Ah, you see where I'm going with this. Oh yeah, it kind of looks similar. And 0.7 must be 7/10, because 7 is not in the tens place, but is in the tenths place? That's right. 0.7 is 7/10, or 7 divided by 10. But what about this one? 0.75, wait a second. 3/4 equals 6/8. Oh yeah, that makes sense, because 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 2 is 8. So those are equivalent fractions. But what about these decimals? Let's see if they are equivalent. 0.750 equals 0.75. Well, the 0 adds no value at all. So instead of 0.750, we could simply write 0.75. So yes, these decimals are equivalent decimals. So this must be 0.75. 3/4, 6/8, and 0.750 are all equivalent to 0.75. Well done, everybody. Sorry, I have a runny nose. Probably because from sniffing too much. Whoa, careful. Careful. Oh. Okay, better now. Now, what about these? These are slightly harder because they are greater than 3/4, but less than 1 at the same time. There are 2 patterns I see here. 0.8 is 8/10, but if you simplify that, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 0.8 is also 4/5, so 0.8 and 4/5 are equivalent to each other. That's right. And I notice another difference. 0.83 is approximately equal to 5/6. Wow. That's amazing. So 0.83 is 0.03 more than 0.8. So I say 5/6 is greater than 4/5. That's correct. Yay! What about these ones? These are a little more trickier because they are greater than 5/6 and 4/5, but are still less than 1. What do you see? Which fraction is showing? Oh, 7/8 is. But which one is the value of 7/8? 0.9 or 0.875? Well, for all we know, 0.9 is 9/10, and if we try to simplify, 9/10 down to 7/8, it won't work because 9 and 7 cannot be divisible. So they divide unevenly. So nothing could be divided by 9 in order to get to 7 except 63. But 9 divided by something would not get 7, because 9 divided by the missing number in order to get 7 is a decimal. And 875, there's no way to get the answer as 8 by dividing 875 by any whole number. So, they're both decimals. So, I think that 0.875 is the equivalent value. That is correct. 7/8 is equivalent to 0.875 because it's not 9/10. 0.9 is 9/10. But what about over here, between 0.9 and 1? What number is between 0.9 and 1? 0.95, perhaps. That's right, Byron. 0.95 is the number between 0.9 and 1. But what is 0.95? Let's take a second. What do you see in the number 0.33? Oh, 3 is in the 10th place and the 100th place. This acts like the 10, and this acts like the 100. So this is 33 hundredths. That's right. So that means 0.95 must be 95 hundredths. But what is it simplifying down to? Well, 10 divided by 5 is 2, right? Yeah. So that means 100 divided by 5 must be 20, because if we skip count, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, that is 5 times we skip count. So, 100 divided by... Wait, sorry, I lost track. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. 100 divided by 5 is 20. But what is 95 divided by 5? Oh, wait! I know! 100 divided by 5 is 20, right? Yes. And the answer has to end in a 5 or a 0. So I think that 95 divided by 5 will end in, I don't know, maybe a 1 or something? Because 5 divided by 5 is 1. And that number that ends in 1 times 5 is 95, which ends in 5. See? I told ya. So 100 divided by 5 is 20. But that is 1 more than 95 divided by 5. So 95 divided by 5, well, it may or may not end in 1 also. Because not all numbers that are divisible by the numbers with the same last digits, not all numbers end in a 1. So, this one might not end in a 1. Let's double check to make sure. Alright, first things off, what is 100 divided by 5? 20. And we know that 9 times 5 ends in a 5, right? Yeah. And 9 times 5 is only 5 less than 10 times 5. So what we have to do is 100 divided by 5 is 20, but we have to decrease the quotient by 1. Oh, 95 divided by 5 must be 19. That's right, because 95 is 1/5 less than 100. So 19 times 5 must be 95. Yes. Plus, what is half of 18? 9. And what's half of 19? 9 plus another half? Oh, yeah. I get it. So it's technically 1/2 more than what we just reviewed earlier. So, yeah, very cool. 95 100ths is simply just 95 over 100, or basically 19/20ths. Very cool. 1/20th less than 1. Very cool. And what is at the top? What is at the top of the number line? Wait a second. I see 2 over 2, 4 over 4, and 8 over 8. Wait a second. Any number divided by itself is 1. So the answer is 1, right? Correct. Because any number divided by itself, except for 0 divided by 0, is 1. So, yeah, 2 halves. 2 halves is equal to 4/4, and 4/4 is equal to 8/8. And how do we know that, everybody? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4 again. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8 again. 2 halves, 4/4, 8/8. And basically, 1 over 1. 1 divided by 1 is also 1. So 1 whole is equivalent to 1. Because 1 divided by 1, you could also say 1 divided by 1 as 1 whole, or 1 over 1. That's simply just 1. And what about these ones? 1.000 equals 1.0. Are they equivalent? Oh, let's see. Yeah, I think so. That's correct. Because although it doesn't say 1.000 equals 1.00 and says 1.000 equals 1.0, instead, 0 simply does not change the value. So we don't need all these zeros everywhere. So, instead of 1.0, we could simply just write 1. And they would still be equivalent, because no matter how many zeros we add after the decimal point, the zeros add up to nothing. So basically, 1.000 equals 1. That's it. That is just the basics of this. 1.0 equals 1, because the 0 adds up to nothing. And that is the top of the number line. I hope you enjoyed this video about fractions and decimals arranged in a number line. We'll see you guys later in the next video. Bye, everyone!